Okay, guys, so we're going to do one of each different type. This is the third worksheet on my website for this section. We're going to go through each one on this, and I hope that you'll do the other ones and practice them on your own, because it'll give you that needed practice you need to be successful on the stuff that you're going to see on the test. So let's do the first one. We have v squared minus 20v plus 49 is equal to negative 2. We want to do this by completing the square. I'm going to move this 49 to the other side. Okay, so we have v squared minus 20v is equal to negative 51. Okay, so if we wanted to complete the square, we could do that. We have b is negative 20 over 2 squared, which is going to be negative 10 squared, which is 100. So v squared minus 20v plus 100 minus 100 is equal to negative 51, and we won't want to forget our parentheses for this. Okay, so this is going to factor nicely as v minus 10 squared minus 100 is equal to negative 51. Add 100 to both sides. We have v minus 10 squared is equal to 49. Square root it. V minus 10 is equal to plus or minus 7. Now, make sure that you remember the reason it's plus or minus 7 is because we took the square root of v squared. And if you plug positive 7 into v, you will get the same answer as if you plug negative 7 into v. Okay, so then we add the 10 to both sides. V is equal to 10 plus or minus 7, which means v is equal to 17, or 10 minus 7, which is 3. Okay, and that's how we solve that by completing the square. Simple enough. One of the better, nicer examples for completing the square. Okay, we're going to do the next one by factoring. This one will probably go a little quicker. So we have n squared minus 28 is equal to 3n. You do not want to factor yet. We want to move everything to the same side. So we minus the 3n to the other side. And we have n squared minus 3n minus 28 is equal to 0. We look for two numbers that multiply to negative 28 but add up to negative 3. And I think those numbers are 7 and 4, with the 7 being negative. So this means this is n minus 7, n plus 4. And so this means n minus 7 is 0, which means n is equal to 7. Oops, let me redo that. 0, we add the 7. N is equal to 7 as a solution, and n plus 4 is equal to 0. We subtract 4, and n is equal to negative 4. And so these two answers will solve this quadratic to find the zeros of the quadratic. Okay. So whenever it says solve, you are finding the zeros of something. Okay, in terms of quadratics anyway. For the next one, solve by taking square roots. So let's isolate the squared portion. We have 8n squared is 23. So we add 4 to both sides. 8n squared is equal to negative 19. Then we divide by 8. N squared is equal to negative 19 over 8. We take the square root, and we get n is equal to plus or minus I square root of 19 over 2 square root 2. And I think that's the best we can do. If you're unsure, guys, the answers are at the bottom of that worksheet. So if we go on here, we can look at this one, I believe, the third one. And let's make sure. If we look. Oh, they have 38. Oh, okay. I know what they did. Okay, so that's a little bit different from what they got, right? I have this. They rationalized the denominator. So what they did is they... Let's see, let me make sure. They just multiplied by... What was the answer they got? They got 4. They multiplied by the square root of 2 and the square root of 2, which means this is going to be... I'll just show you the math. Square root of 19 times square root 2 over 2 times square root 2 times square root 2, which is square root of 38 over 2 times square root of 4. Square root of 38 over 2 times 2, which is 4. And so they have plus or minus square root 38 over 4. And they obviously have the I there. So 2 different answers, plus or minus of that. Just be careful. That's all that they did. So if you do it and you don't get that same answer, see if you can rationalize the denominator by getting rid of the square roots on the bottom, and that'll help you make sure that you have the same answer as the worksheet. And then finally, for the last one, this is not of the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So let's do it. We have 2x squared is equal to 9x plus 13. We subtract 9x. We subtract 13. 2x squared minus 9x minus 13 is equal to 0. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So we plug them in. So we have x is equal to negative 9 plus or minus the square root of negative 9 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 13 all over 2 times 2. X equals 9 plus or minus the square root of 81. We want to know what 8 times 13. So 8, 24, 104 plus 104. Okay, so that's going to be that all over 4. So then we have, let's check and see what the answer looks like, just to be sure. Okay, so they just left it as that. That's exactly what we're going to get. So x is equal to 9 plus or minus the square root of 185 over 4. And they just did 9 plus square root 185 over 4. And 9 minus square root of 185 over 4. Okay, so those are your 2 answers. Hopefully that is helpful enough for you to be able to get these done. You might want to check your answers before you work so that you know when to stop. Normally, we would simplify this if like 9 divided by 4 was, or if 9 divided by 3 was there, we could do 9 divided by 3, which is 3. But since it's not nice like that, then we don't have to do that in this case. So make sure you guys keep practicing. I hope you're all doing well. I'll be posting the next video here soon. Thank you.